Welcome to the Hunger Action Heroes podcast. Hunger Action Heroes is a production of the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent was established in 1986 as the Community Food Bank in Victoria, Texas. Our mission is helping heal the hurt of hunger in our 11-county service area: Calhoun, Colorado, DeWitt, Goliad, Gonzales, Jackson, Lavaca, Matagorda, Refugio, Victoria, and Wharton. We passionately advocate for a hunger-free Texas. Your host, Chris Doelle, will bring you a message from our sponsor and get right into the episode. Stick around.
The Hunger Action Heroes podcast by the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is made possible by the generous support of the HEB Hunger Relief Program. HEB Hunger Relief works year-round to fight hunger in Texas and Mexico. Hunger relief has been a key focus for HEB since the first store opened back in 1905. For more than a century now, HEB's commitment and involvement in the communities it serves has been an important part of the way the company does business. Since the inception of the Hunger Relief Program, HEB has donated over 1 billion pounds of food to help nourish neighbors in communities throughout Texas and Mexico. Thank you to the HEB Hunger Relief Program. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hunger Action Heroes podcast. I'm Chris Doelle. I am joined today by Robin Cadle, the president and CEO of the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent. That's a lot of words. And Frances Santellana, is that how we say it? Okay.
Chief Operating.
She's the Chief Operating Officer. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You bet. Today I want to talk about disasters and how things change, because we had a little bit of rain, nothing big, but it, on the news it was saying flash flooding warnings and things like that. And it's like, what happens to an organization like yours when a disaster comes up? Because it affects everybody's lives, so I assume it affects things here a little bit too.
Absolutely, Chris. We, of course, monitor the weather daily. We look to see what the next day holds. We look to see what the next week holds. We knew there was going to be some rain. Of course, we weren't expecting as much as we have gotten so far. But it's business as usual in this kind of situation. What we do is, make sure that our employees are able to come to work, make sure that our drivers are more aware of their presence on the road and the other individuals, and are prepared for deep water should that occur.
Nice. And so my first question was going to be just that. How do you prepare? You monitor, you coordinate. What else has to happen in terms of like the food, the communications? The food,
what's happening, like today's situation, we're delivering the orders that have been ordered by our normal partners. We did not have any mobile distributions today. Tomorrow, we know that it's going to be pretty rainy, pretty wet. We do have a mobile distribution in Jackson County. So we have went ahead and canceled that one and rescheduled it for Monday. And our social media team will text and post on our Facebook page, but they will text every individual that is a part of that mobile and let them know the change. So a lot of communication behind the scenes happens, but we do whatever we have to do.
Nice. So when a disaster comes, when it strikes, what's unique here that doesn't normally happen? Like, normally you punch in, you punch out, you do your work, but disaster changes things, right?
Our employees know that we are kind of in it. Feeding people that are hungry is kind of a challenge, and it's kind of a disaster in itself because they don't have access to food. What am I going to do? That's their disaster. Mm-hmm. So we're meeting a disaster daily. What changes for us is that all hands are on deck, and our staff is okay with that. They come in and say, okay, what can I do?
So true.
No one's saying, I'm going to punch out at 5. They're like, let's move forward.
Absolutely.
Everyone is ready to do whatever needs to be done. So and we'll have little powwows in between the day to stay on track to where we need to be. Because, things change hourly.
Yeah. So, Francis, in terms of operations, how does it affect what goes on with you?
Well, the warehouse team, everyone is fully aware of a disaster when it's occurring. So it's completing the orders of the organizations that are placing orders. Whether if for some reason we lose power or something, they know, pick up the phone, call us, and we can fill the need if that should occur. But we're fortunate enough to have the generators. So during the last hurricane that we had, we didn't lose power, so we still had those orders coming in and being fulfilled. Yeah,
in Barrow we didn't lose. Well, we don't lose power. We do have it, like Francis said, we have a huge generator back there. In Harvey, while power was out for a couple of hours for the city, our generator went on immediately. What we did without for 2 weeks was internet connections.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to write everything down where we used to just throwing it online. We learned from that. We couldn't hotspot at that time. Now, if that happens and we lose internet, we can hotspot from our phones, and our computers are compatible with that. In the past, they weren't. So we learned from that and made the adjustments for future.
And that actually leads to another great question, that what have you learned from previous disasters that has impacted how you do things?
Response times, what's needed prior to. We're pretty efficient in emergencies because of what we do, and we have the right team in place. So the only one that might have caught us a little bit off guard was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because no one was prepared for that.
That's true. Yeah, and actually, as an organization goes, and I've seen hundreds of them, this is a super efficient organization anyway.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. How about, what do you do during disaster times to coordinate with the pantries, with volunteers? How do you keep them in the loop of what's happening?
Francis, a lot of phone calls?
Yes, lots of phone calls, absolutely. Coordinating foods that are donated, earmarked for the disaster. So at that time, we direct communication with the organizations, and we also have other entities that will be opening up as an emergency facility if the local food pantry has been affected by the disaster and cannot open their doors. So we coordinate with them and to do the distribution at maybe another location. But direct communication with each of the member agencies that have been affected by them.
And I will share, Francis has been with us for how many years now?
35.
35 years. So she has a phenomenal relationship with every pantry that we have. Yeah. And when she says she communicates with the pantry, she communicates with the people that run it. She has their phone numbers. They have her phone number. They could be talking at 4 o'clock in the morning. They could be talking at 11 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. But it is that kind of relationship that allows us to be responsive.
Yeah, as I've been interviewing these pantry heads and coordinators, every one of them, first person they mention is Francis. Oh, what a great resource you've been. And then, of course, Robin. They all love Robin, but they talk to her.
We all love Francis because right. Francis has the experience. She has that relationship, and they know they can count on her.
Every organization, every food pantry, member agency, or partnered agency of the food bank, they have a beautiful servant's heart.
Yeah.
They, the majority are volunteers, so the respect and is mutual.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for them and admiration, love for them, because they give deep from their heart. Their servant's heart is beautiful. They're out there to help the community, especially at a time of need when disaster has occurred.
Especially in our rural areas.
Yes,
I mean, all areas, but
absolutely.
especially in the rural areas.
Yeah. So you mentioned Harvey, you mentioned Barrow, you mentioned the pandemic. What memorable stories or events do you have from some of those?
For me, it would be Harvey, because, we were preparing for what a Category 1 got much more than that.
Yes.
We went home the day before. Storm hit. I came into the office early the next day, found water inside the building. Not a lot, but enough that we had to get it out. Mm-hmm. Staff all showed up. We cleared it out and went to work. And that day after, we were delivering food to shelters that had opened up and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Before that, our shelves were a little bit bare. We were just, day to day. After that, the donations started coming in, more awareness of the food bank across the state of Texas and across the nation. So we received a lot of donations and a lot of monetary donations as well as food donations. So that Harvey was pretty. That was my first disaster type with the food bank for me. So.
Yeah.
And what about you? Your tenure being longer here?
Well, it's actually Harvey as well.
Yeah.
The dedication of all the community, the support that came from, like Robin said, nationally, the phone calls that were coming in, really concerned about the food bank. And the outpour of support, the phones ringing off the wall. Robin would be we were all on the phones trying to answer calls, wanting to know how they could help our food bank.
Yeah.
And that was so touching to know that, that they were willing to help their neighbors in need, from Florida, from New York,
California, New York.
Yes.
Yes. And our agencies, we had already started communicating with them early on, finding out which ones could open, which ones couldn't, where we needed to be for. And we work with EMS, we work with the police departments, and they let us know where they need us to deliver food to. So that was pretty amazing. And I think one of the memorable things about that is we had a lady come in that wanted to volunteer. She was bilingual, didn't speak a lot of English. Yeah. She said, I can cook or clean. And she went to work doing both. She kept the kitchen going. We had a kitchen. She she made us breakfast every day, made us lunch. We didn't have to leave to go out and try to find something to eat. Because some of the stores were,
electricity was out.
Yes, electricity was out.
Some of the staff didn't have electricity.
Exactly.
So that was perfect.
Exactly. So it was, she was amazing. Yeah. And a servant's heart. It was like our own mom had come to take care of us. And we could eat in shifts and still, get work done. So that was pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Then when the pandemic hit as well, Robin kept us all informed what the preparations to do. We had a perfect setup already as we did the mobile distributions. And so the mobiles that were scheduled were going to take place.
Yeah.
We had safety precautions already in place. We wore a mask, had a procedure like signs made up. Robin made up some signs for families to don't roll down your window, just display your information, ID information to get checked in. And
pop your trunk.
Yes. Yeah. And never stopped. And that's one of the things that we were so amazed that after you sit back and look, that we went through a really hard period, because the first case that that known to us that was affected by that we had someone who actually passed away was in Matagorda County. And I remember we were going to Matagorda County to do that distribution in Bay City. And all I can say, the team, Connie and I and other people that went to the distribution, we prayed up right before entering the city, said a prayer, and just ask the Lord to guide us through it, keep us safe, and the team of volunteers. And throughout the time at the beginning, we were blessed that we didn't get affected by the virus. It was almost towards the end.
It was almost a year later.
Yeah.
It was going into that second year that, we'd had some people out that thought they had the flu for a little bit longer time. Never was diagnosed with COVID. But that second year, we ended up having to close for 1 week. There was 9 of us that had COVID, and we did have a company come in and sanitize everything. But during that whole time, except for 1 week, we were on the ground running.
Our partnered agencies is the same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't shut down. They the ones that were able to operate, and we're doing so. It's the same model as using a mobile distribution type setting.
And the amazing thing about our agencies, they're ran by elderly individuals that are vulnerable to that. So, but they, we got medical supplies in, such as COVID testing, mask, and we made sanitizer, Tito's vodka called us. They had made up a bunch of hand sanitizer. They donated it. We went and picked it up. We passed out more hand sanitizer than I've ever seen in my whole life, and mask. But we were able to get it all out. And from somewhere, can't remember where, but we got the COVID testing kits, and we're able to pass those out on the mobile distribution.
Yeah, and everybody's used to the food bank giving and being generous and serving, but during emergencies, things got turned a little bit, and you got to witness the community giving like crazy. That had to make you feel good about humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Talk about how the community responds.
The community, you see a lot more donations. You see individuals that go to Sam's or HEB, and they'll purchase food and bring it to you. In those instances, if they had donated monetarily, we could have purchased them a lot more. But they still have that giving heart. New York, I can't remember this little city, I think it's Cortland, they loaded a 53-foot tractor trailer, drove it down, and it was packed. Nothing was on pallets. It was like 1 or 2 items at a time. We had cleaning supplies, we had bleach, we had mops, brooms, canned food, water, Lysol, all kinds. It was loaded, and it took us, I would say, 4 or 5 hours to unload the truck. And there was probably 8 of us unloading the truck. Yeah. So, and then, especially during disasters, the warehouse fills up. So then we've got to bring it out, sort it, and get it out and it goes out as quickly as it comes in.
Yeah.
So, and then also in Harvey, we got a driver from Lincoln, Nebraska that came down with his truck and helped us make sure deliveries. In Beryl, we got a driver loaned to us from Florida. So the Feeding America Network and the Feeding Texas Network also helps coordinate across the nation and across the state. So we're not in this alone.
Right.
We've got a lot of webs and fingers out there that works together to get things done appropriately and quickly.
So when you mentioned Feeding America and Feeding Texas, when a situation hits one area of Texas, how do they coordinate to make supplies better? Emails
start going out, phone calls, and then we respond with what we can do. Yeah.
Got it. And then, in retrospect, looking back on previous disasters and lessons you've learned, what impact have those disasters had on how you do things here?
It's shaped some of. When I first started, we were doing 5 mobile distributions. Mm-hmm. We do probably 23 now. It's changed how we get food out and how we respond. Each disaster makes us a little bit better. While we don't look forward to them, but they do serve a purpose. Just helps us to communicate better.
And I think there's more public awareness of the food bank now than there ever was
Ever
before.
was, yeah.
You know, once Robin came on board, she really made sure that to make awareness that the food bank is here and we service the 11 counties. What we do more.
And that was my goal.
Yes.
When I applied for the job, they asked me why I wanted this job, and doing my research on the food bank, didn't know much about it, and I told them we had a story to tell we weren't telling.
Yeah.
And we tell that story every chance we get. That's the only way people are going to know about us.
I love that, and that's what this is.
This is another platform for telling this story. TV. I was eating lunch yesterday. I don't know if I told you. I was eating lunch at Ventura's yesterday, and a complete stranger walked up to me. She goes, "I recognize you from TV. I just want to tell you how grateful I am that you do what you do." And I said, "That was very nice. Thank you." So it tells me that people are watching, and people are listening. So we're glad that they know what the food bank does.
Yes.
Yeah. And Frances, during any other type of business, when a situation like a disaster comes up, it's shut down. It's go home. It's don't come to the office. But talk about here how it changes the hours, but it's not in the way people think, right?
Correct. Yes. And the beauty about it is that we have dedicated, strong leader. Ms. Rob is a strong leader. And the beauty about it is that the great staff that we have, they're team players. Everyone is on board. You know, they know that it's going to take what it's going to take to get the job done, whether it's coming in early, working late. So that's the beauty, that we have a great team. And
I think everyone who works here has a passion for what we do, and a servant's heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not during a disaster. It's not, can I go home now? It's like, what do we need? What do we do next?
Right.
What do you need for me to do? How can I help? So
and I still think people are probably not realizing the scope of working late and starting early.
Yeah, we our drivers come in at 5:30.
Yeah.
Mobile team comes in about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And they may go home, 8 hours later.
Yeah.
But in an emergency, they're helping to get everything loaded for the next day. So they may go home 7 or 8 after that. They may put in a good 12 hours.
Yeah.
Some of us will put in 14 to 16 to 18 hours.
Yeah.
It depends on what needs to be done. It's very situational. Whatever the situation calls for is what we're willing to do.
Cool. And for people who, when they hear of the next disaster coming, we want them to think of the food bank.
Absolutely.
And what's the best way to serve? You had mentioned you can make money go a lot further than you can a can of beans.
Absolutely. Yeah. Monetary donations are phenomenal. Volunteering. We always need help. Either repackaging those boxes, putting the kits together, getting them ready for mobile distributions, or going out on these mobile distributions and helping pass out those foods. We serve 11 counties, and our mobile distribution team consists of 4 people, but they have volunteers at every site that they go to.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't. So these 4 people are distributing to 200 and 300 families at a time. And during a disaster, that doubles.
Yeah.
Because the need becomes greater. So, and there's some mobile distributions that are 300 and 400. So, during the pandemic, we saw lines and lines.
Oh yeah, I remember pictures on TV and in the newspaper.
Yes.
It was crazy. The lines.
And it was hours. Normally, we can do a mobile distribution in 2.5 hours. And that's serving 2 to 300 cars. Otherwise, it's 4, 5, 6 hours. And it's tough when it's hot. And of course, hurricanes happen during the summer.
True.
And it gets muggy and sweaty and mosquitoes. But we'll pack lots of sunscreen and mosquito spray.
Yeah.
Hats.
Yep.
Well, cool. Robin and Francis, I want to thank you so much for not only sharing these stories, because I think these are important for people to hear, but for the work that y'all do. It's
we're very blessed to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And we're having a great time doing it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you for
Appreciate
helping us get the word out.